Alright, all you Streetlight Crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans out there tonight, welcome back to the 6-year Nite special. And I'm not gonna lie to you folks out there, that took a lot of energy out of me, but we got plenty to spare for tonight's show, because now it's time for us to talk about what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. And according to the Maestro, last year, I think it was somewhere in Arizona. So yeah, last year, Raw was in Arizona, now it's in Florida. I could work with that. But besides that, folks, Monday Night Raw would kick off with not only the return of the ipso facto leader of the Nation of Violence of Samoa Joe behind commentary once again, but would also see MVP hosting the only late night nightclub that is still open in the States, known as the VIP Lounge, and would have on there 3 guests in the form of Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, and Rey Mysterio, asking them all, what do you think this opportunity means to become Mr. Money in the Bank, only to cut every single one of them off, with the exception of Apollo Crews, who would try to get on the microphone and tell the reason why he thinks he deserves to be Mr. Money in the Bank, only for, of all people, Zelina Vega, Angel Garza, Austin Theory, and of course El Idolo himself to come out and interrupt them again. And instead of actually going down there and congratulating them on their wins of getting in the Money in the Bank ladder match, Zelina would say, oh, you guys aren't the future, nobody's talking about you, instead they're talking about the 3 of them. And in my opinion, I think you 3 should just give your spots up to them for the sake of Monday Night Raw to go home with the Money in the Bank contract briefcase. Only for Rey Mysterio to say, oh, it sounds like you just want to fight, and then would initiate a battle that would take place in the VIP Lounge, shutting it down for the night for the first match on Monday Night Raw to take place in the form of a 6-man tag team match. And during this 6-man match, action will go back and forth, including some very impressive attempts at the 619 by Rey Mysterio on 2 separate occasions, almost getting all 3 members of this 3 Amigos-like group in a 619 formation. But unfortunately, all attempts would fail. It would see Apollo Crews and Aleister Black diving to the outside of the ring to make up for the 619 missed call. And in the later goings of this match, besides Apollo Crews getting hit with a Uchiga Roshi during this match for near fall, you would see him also getting hit with a back elbow from none other than Andrade Cien Almas, still for near fall. But ultimately, this match would come to an end that again when Apollo Crews would use his brute strength to counter another back elbow from El Idolo, sending him into the air and instantly down to the earth with a cruise missile-like powerbomb with no stall in sight for Apollo Crews to pin the United States Champion and win this match via pinfall. And after the match was over, Apollo Crews would say he deserves an opportunity at the United States Championship, only for El Idolo to come from out of nowhere, still ticked off about that loss, and say, you don't deserve anything, and then would say, oh yeah, I don't deserve it, and would slap Andrade so hard, I swear I heard it in my backyard, despite the no crowd effects, for him to say, how about now? Only for Zelina Vega to say, you want a United States Championship match? You got it tonight. Oh, so he gets a United States Championship match later on tonight due to the fact that he sealed it with a slap to the face. That almost reminds me of the whole thing with Ricochet and AJ Styles. The only way he got a match is because he slapped him in the face. Right. And the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw, besides the countdown of the best moments of Triple H that took place throughout this entire evening for his 25-year celebration, we would see none other than Asuka, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler in a triple threat match. And unfortunately, it would never start because Asuka would come out, not only say poor Kairi Sane, and probably would say something to Nia Jax that she tapped her out for the past 2 years, at least something I could translate from Japanese, and promised to almost do the same thing at Money in the Bank, only for Nia Jax to interrupt, then for Shayna Baszler to come from out of nowhere, and then for a waylay of a melee to take place where Shayna Baszler would drag out Asuka from the ring, beat the living daylights flag tag out of her on the outside, only for Nia Jax to go outside, throw Shayna Baszler into the barricade as Asuka was already thrown into the ladder. Then you would see Shayna Baszler setting up for another arm-breaking like move with the ladder, only for Asuka to see it coming, send her into the ladder in the corner by the stairs, try to send her inside the ring, only for Nia Jax to come from out of nowhere, steamroller, send them both back inside the ring, pick up a ladder, take them both out, hold the ladder high above her head like she was gonna throw it at him, only for her to throw it behind her and celebrate the fact that she won this makeshift confrontation match that I got a feeling was featured during a Wrestling Empire game. Yeah, best way to describe how that all went down. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw, besides an interview with Nia Jax saying that nobody's going to be able to stop her come Money in the Bank, and actually screaming in the face of Charlie Caruso during that interview. Jeez, calm down. And speaking of people who also need to calm down during a match, the next match to take place, to get back on track here folks, would be Bobby Lashley going one-on-one against Denzel DeJournette. Yeah, DeJournette. I'm real bad with long last names, I'll just tell you that much right now folks. But what's really bad that happened during this match, that it seemed like a spirited contest between Bobby and Denzel, until Denzel decided to slap Bobby Lashley in the face, which riled him up. And what would that lead to, folks, besides a clothesline and a disgusting type spine buster by Bobby Lashley, would be a hellacious spear that would leave Denzel heels to Jesus for him to get pinned and beaten by Bobby Lashley, who didn't have Lana at ringside during this said match. And the reason why Lana didn't show up is because Bobby Lashley said to Lana, "You're so beautiful that you're distracting me during the match and I can't focus, so can you please stay in the back?" Only for Lana to say, "Okay," which in reality, the only reason he doesn't want her out there is because she's gonna shout orders saying, "Spear, spear!" And then she'll get distracted, or he will get distracted by her, and then boom, lose the match to this guy. Right, which would have been bad too, and would have probably led to a post-match beatdown as well. So good on Lana to stay in the back. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw, and a match we forgot to mention last week on a Tuesday night special, would be Liv Morgan going one-on-one against Ruby Riott. Now, for those who didn't see the match last week because we didn't mention it, or you just didn't get a chance to see it at all, during the match last week, Ruby Riott would constantly taunt Liv Morgan, giving Liv Morgan enough of a chance to come back and win this said match. And if you're wondering at home, would history repeat itself during this said contest? Why, yes, it would. Because Liv Morgan, who was getting the ever-living bejesus beaten out of her with an STO takedown and even getting hit with a Riott kick during this match, would still be for near fall. And Ruby Riott, who was at wit's end at this point, trying to figure out a way how to beat her and humiliate her in front of the millions watching at home, would then see Liv Morgan go for her springboard STO-like takedown that she calls the Oblivion, which, by the way, awesome song by Mastodon, by the way, would see Liv Morgan once again pulling out another victory over Ruby Riott via pinfall. And after the match was over, she would say she's still trying to figure things out and she'll get through this whole breakup loss of the Riott Squad and move on to bigger and better things. Good for you, Liv. Good for you. And not to mention, cool name for your finishing move. And the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than Akira Tozawa going one-on-one against the modern-day Maharaja making his return, Jinder Mahal. And Jinder Mahal not only was pissed off during this match, but with a brand new hairstyle, getting rid of that, I don't even know what to call type of hairstyle he had before, but I did like it. I wonder why he decided to get rid of it. Probably new look for his new attitude, and boy did he have an attitude during this match, because despite Akira Tozawa trying to come back during this match, throwing himself literally and figuratively at Jinder Mahal during this match, Jinder would throw around Akira Tozawa like he was nothing, with not only a belly-to-back suplex, but also tossing him to the outside of the ring, into the barricade, and into the LED screens, only to finish off this match with not only an air raid siren, but also hitting his Colossus with authority for him to win this match in emphatic fashion via pinfall. And after the match was over, backstage would get interviewed and would say that he was pissed off that a lot of people forgot about him and thought that his career was over after the surgery that he would have that would take him out for almost nearly a year. And then all of a sudden, when I heard Jinder Mahal talk after that, I heard that magical song singing, "Don't you forget about me, don't you forget about me," which I do believe one of my teachers in school actually sung that song during the faculty follies that they had in our junior year. It was a good cover, it really was. He really did sound like the guy who did the song, which I forgot the name of, by the way. Anyway, folks, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw besides sing-alongs would be none other than Andrade Cien Almas going one-on-one against Apollo Crews. And during this said contest, action would go back and forth and Apollo Crews would be rolling high during this said contest, but unfortunately due to a slip-up thanks to Andrade Cien Almas, Apollo Crews would tweak his knee during the said match and would try to fight through the pain by doing a standing moonsault for near fall, and would even try to go for a frog splash D'Lo Brown style off the top rope, which would ultimately finish the job that Andrade did to his own knee, for the referee to have no choice and painfully had to stop this match for Apollo Crews to lose and for Andrade Cien Almas to retain the United States Championship via stoppage. Now, what does this mean for the Money in the Bank match if Apollo Crews can't be in it? And I got a feeling they're gonna probably pull him out of the match and replace him with one of the three amigos that injured him during that said match. Cause Selena Vega's gonna work her magic for Andrade, or most likely Angel Garza, who's handing out roses to announcers backstage, to be involved in this match. Or even Austin Theory to get back at Aleister Black. But we're gonna have to find out next week what's gonna happen with that situation. But before we get to next week, folks, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw, which would be the main event of the evening, which would see none other than Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, aka the Ballroom Blitzkrieg, going one-on-one against the team of Everrise, which is Chase Parker and Matt Martell. And during this said match, action would go back and forth in lightning fashion, not only with Cedric Alexander getting involved in this match, doing his, I guess to call it, a twisting neck breaker or Conway move that Rob Conway would do with the assist of the other partner of Everrise, snapping his neck back, then drop kicking the kid in the face. And sorry, I couldn't tell who was who during this said contest because of all the speed. But one thing I did know during this match, after Ricochet would tag in, after Cedric Alexander would do a tornado DDT that would lead directly into a standing shooting star press for near fall, and after one of the members of Everrise would try to cheat during this match, he would get put in check with a brand new tag team maneuver that Ricochet and Cedric Alexander would do that would be straight out of the playbook of the Motor City Machine Guns, which would be an STO dropkick combination, sending one of the members of Everrise face first into the dirt for the team of the Ballroom Blitzkrieg to win this match via pinfall. And after the match was over, MVP would say that they got lucky, and then the team from last week that they would fight would challenge them once again next week on Monday Night Raw, because those are the boys MVP signed up to try to take them on to truly prove how lucky they are as a tag team. Good luck, because I don't think on the momentum swing that the Ballroom Blitzkrieg has right now that they can beat them. And that's for me. And thank you for reminding me, Maestro, before we forget, throughout the night, besides the Viking Raiders calling out the Street Profits as a second best tag team, picking up every single belt that they once picked up after they left, would then say that they want a shot at the tag team championships and that they plan to take it from the Street Profits next week on Monday Night Raw, only for the Street Profits to chime in and tell them that while we were making jokes and while you guys were doing carpool karaoke eating turkey legs, we were here defending these Raw Tag Team Championships and plan on getting serious next week on Monday Night Raw. Well, for their sake, I hope they do, because if they don't, let's just say their title reign's gonna go up in smoke, if you know what I mean. I know Maestro was a bad joke, so sue me. I said I was gonna do it once, and I did it once, alright? Alright. And to wrap up the night for Monday Night Raw, we would finally see the contract signing between Drew McIntyre and the Monday Night Messiah himself, CrossFit Jesus Seth Metal, Seth Rollins. And during this contract signing, where Drew McIntyre would have to sit and listen to the rhetoric of the Monday Night Messiah saying that this place needs a leader and you're not it, basically saying there can only be one, almost like Highlander rules, would see Drew McIntyre responding back saying he doesn't know what's going on in that warp head of his, that he's full of crap, and the fact that he attacked him last week on Monday Night Raw, he should have went for the throat, but he didn't. And Drew McIntyre would warn him at Money in the Bank, you better go for the throat because he sure as hell is, and would warn him about it, only for Seth Rollins to say some form of rhetoric once again to piss off Drew McIntyre to the point for him to slam his head into the desk, hit him with a glass cow kiss, and was just about to send the countdown to Claymore Country, only for of all people to come out the disciple known as Murphy to put a waylay of a disciple beatdown on Drew McIntyre, only to receive a hug from Seth Rollins and at the same time receive something from Drew McIntyre as well. A Claymore kick sending him right out of his shoes, only for Drew McIntyre to say, oh, this is your sacrificial lamb? This is what you plan on doing at Money in the Bank? You better prepare for what's gonna happen next, for his entrance music to drown out what he was gonna say, for Monday Night Raw to come to a close with another failed contract signing. Seriously, this has been happening for well over 15 years. Did anybody expect that this was gonna go well? I didn't, because this thing been happening for well over 15. It blows my mind that they keep thinking they're gonna have successful contract signings in this company unless they put a no non-compete clause or a no touching the other guy clause or girl clause in their contracts for contract signings, which they don't. So yeah, they should have known this was gonna go bad. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back into this music, and when we return, we'll be back with more of this Streetlight Delight as the 6-year Nite special rolls on right after this. So don't fall asleep just yet, folks, and stay tuned.